Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing this evening? I hope you are well. And welcome back to the SE&CR Invalid Saloon from Branchlines. Which, as we discussed last week, is a fun project because I have no instructions. Someone pointed out that Branchlines kits sometimes don't include instructions. This one should. It does not, so that's fun. And well, sound is good this evening. I am glad sound is good. It's about the only thing on the instructions are overrated. Yeah. We definitely wouldn't be doing a better job if we knew what we were doing, Alex. You're right. One of those times where instructions would be nice. So yes, where we got last week, we got one side done. I have filed down some of the lumpier bits of overflowed solder since last week. So she's looking much better, and that should all be hidden once it gets some paint on it. So now we've got this one with the door handles and grab handles on it and all tinned up ready for the ventilators. Then we need to start bending it, and that is our two sides done, and we can start looking at putting it together. So we should have something starting to resemble a carriage this evening. Won't that be fun? So why not get straight into it. We'll grab the bits we don't need right now. Oh yeah, and we got drop lights to fit in the windows as well. And parts that I have no idea what they are, and I don't think it said. Oh, battery boxes. It does say. Wow. These are bits we must not forget to do. Things like drop lights, because I will forget otherwise. Luckily I have you lot there to remind me, because you won't let me forget, will you? Pretty sure all the ventilators are still in there. Let's get the iron turned on. I also have news to shock Alex in that Streamlabs did an update, and it was a good update. Actually added features and didn't break anything. I've already forgotten. Excellent, Alex. This is the sort of reliability I've come to expect. I'm glad you didn't let me down. Lies and slander. No, they did an update, and now not only do I have all of the settings from YouTube's back end as I'm setting up the live stream, I can now add thumbnails as well, which I've never been able to do in Streamlabs. So they've done good, and nothing broke. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. There are all our vents. 2 long ones, 2 short ones at this end this time, and 5 mediums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that is all of them. Streamlabs, much like Twitch, have never done things to make life easier. I mean, up until this update, I would agree with you. But they have genuinely made life easier with this update. Now all they need to do is give me the link when it creates the stream, so I don't have to then go log into YouTube to get the link. Which I currently do still have to do. but it's certainly progress in the right direction. So of course we start off with a bit of flux, Fry Power Flow Flux, because people will ask me what flux I use. And we'll spread it all over everything. Very well, thank you. I hope you are as well. I am indeed, thank you. I also have good news on the recording studio front this evening, in that the workbench and the shelves received their second coat of white paint today. I feel I need to specify what colour before someone asks if they got mauve, which they did not, and they will not be getting. Just to clarify that. They definitely need more work doing, but they are getting there. Of course, I'm not having to rush them like I did when I revamped this workbench and eating it ready for Sunday nights. They can sit and be done properly and take time with them. Oh yes, and we have a different tip on the iron. I completely forgot about the fact I'd changed the tip. So we now have a flatter tip. Gary's workbenches are disappointingly mauve free. They are exceedingly mauve free. And good evening, Will. How are you? I hope you are well. What's the tip? You can never have too much flux. Oh, that is a good tip. But no, of course, last week we were talking about tips and the fact that the one I was using was way too pointy, and the fact that I hadn't changed it because I never remember to change it until I'm using it. And then that evening I left my tips out, so I remembered, aha, I've got the tip to change. I can change the tip. I mean, that was the next morning when I was tidying the workbench back up, but that's not the point. If I'd done it that night, it would have still been quite warm. And well, got to modify a locomotive's frames though. Well, I'll be modifying this one's frames at some point. So you're in good company. What locomotive are you modifying? Do tell. And lots of medium ones, there we go. but this tip, you see, should be transferring more heat, making this an easier job. And I can confirm that was much easier. However, this Brookline, the middle axle hole is way too big. Ah, fair enough. Axle holes being way too big can certainly be a problem. Less than half the watchers have liked this so far this evening. Do you not like it? At least there are no dislikes so far. Smash that like button, you clots. Exactly what Paderborn and Alex say. Smash that like button. And if you don't like it, do feel free to hit that dislike button. I won't take offence. Because, you know, fence panels, they're like 6 foot tall. I'm not carrying one of those everywhere. Still haven't brought up cheese yet in this stream. They have now. Good evening, Merryhampton Productions. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. And look, there is the chatbot to remind everyone to smash that like button. Someone did dislike, who was it? Oh, excellent. They probably did it because of my joke about not taking offence. Because let's be honest, it was quite a bad joke. Oh dear, I might have scared some viewer watchers away. Oh dear. That was a rather unexpected consequence. Larch lap or picket. I mean, a picket one would be easier to carry, but they're still quite long panels. Time I had with taking a picket fence once. Not too bad, just reading up about the last years of Great Western Steam. Ah, interesting. The last years of Steam are always interesting. Needs more terriers though. I mean, who am I kidding? Everything needs more terriers. There we go, that's on there. So, as you can see, the new tip on this iron has made a huge difference in my usage of it and how easy it is to do this job. Some interesting videos last year's Western Steam in the West Midlands on YouTube. I'm gonna remind you of these things, Alex. Alex, the great Western lover. The Western mole. Did they have great steam on the Western? Well, they had a terrier for a bit. Even if it did wear that horrible shirt button livery. They had 2 terriers on paper. Yeah, they did, on paper. I'm quite sure one of them at least never run under Great Western ownership. I don't know about the other one. GW had trains. I love trains. I see no issues. Yeah, fair enough, Western mole. Western mole. It's definitely not a mix of Midland and Western. No, they scrapped one straight away though. That's what I thought. From what I understand, they were both in quite terrible condition by the time the Western got them. See, this is so much easier with a decent tip. I don't think there is anywhere I'm even called Midland Mole anymore. No? You should correct that. Is that just because you're called Western Mole everywhere now? They got both from WCPR in 1940. They both did run, but were disliked by Great Western Cruise. One was scrapped in 48, the other was withdrawn in 50. Stored until being scrapped in 54. Ah. So I didn't realise, I thought one of them had never run under Great Western ownership. So I knew they came from the WCPR. Once upon a time I had a model of one of the Porter's Head in shirt button. It's now Fenchurch in umber. Much better livery. Control or they really don't care about that anymore. Yeah, fair enough. You'd have to bring back one of your other online identities, from what I hear the kids saying these days, if you went and joined TikTok, because apparently they're all singing sea shanties, and there's only one of your online identities that would be good for going and singing sea shanties. I have never used TikTok and have no idea what it is, but I hear there's lots of sea shanty singing going on. Just to clarify that there. And there we go. All the ventilators on in significantly less time than it took last week. TikTok needs shutting down, deleting from all records. That is all I'm going to say on the subject. fair enough. As I say, I have no idea what it is. Really. I know it exists. That's about it. So when I was cleaning these up, obviously I missed some bits in the framing, that's fine. They've all gone green and can be cleaned later. I forgot about the back. So yes, we're back with our cheaty technique. Calling it that because, you know, I know people spend lots of money on these tools. I just watch TikTok videos that end up getting re-uploaded on Twitter. You're not missing much. Yep, fair enough. It does feel a bit cheaty with how much money people pay for tools to do this, that I'm doing it with the tube from some cling film and a tea towel. And getting a good result. Punk band in the 70s that sang a sea shanty, but I don't think the kids would sing that version. No, probably not. Actually, they probably would. Yes, that'll do quite nicely. You can see there's a turn under there. Obviously I can't get it to focus properly, and it does run the whole length of the carriage quite nicely. No creases, no bends. I am very, very happy with that technique. I kind of want to build another brass coach so I can do it on video and do a video on that technique to show that it works, because it's so quick and effortless. Yo ho, I'm here. Good evening. Good evening, Andy. How are you? I hope you are well. I do, of course, need to get a cheap alternative to bending bars to teach people as well. Certainly most kits I've worked with using bending something this long, these would be no good. This brass feels much, much thinner on the seams than anything else I work with. You are good, excellent. Just thought have ordered the wrong underframe. Oops, that's not good. Really will need modifying then. And there we go, we have two sides. We have some detail to add to the ends, only I don't actually know what it all is. Obviously, I know the steps, but there's also a hole in the middle on both ends that I have no idea what it's for. And with no instructions, I can't really work it out too easily. So that's fun. But that is, of course, what we need to do next. If I can get this bit of card out here, we can cut the steps off. We need to do the drop lights. I'd forgotten about the drop lights. I bet you're all in the process of typing out to remind me, weren't you? That one. Drop lights. Yeah. That's it. I knew you would be, Alex. I know I can rely on you to never forget anything, ever, under any circumstances. This card is weaker than the card from the last kit that I used to support the etch whilst I was cutting it. So that's good. At least it's keeping to form. Now I can make my way along and get them all filed smooth. To laugh about my severe memory issues, otherwise I'd cry, then forget what I was crying, which would make me want to cry. Oh, brilliant, Alex. It's always good when we can laugh about things. Did you know I have a Twitter account? The bot wants you to know I have a Twitter account and it wants you to go follow me there if you don't already. Which you probably do. I think I have more followers on Twitter than I have subscribers on YouTube. Which is a shame. Let's increase those subscriber numbers. Tell your friends and their friends and their friends and their friends. If you all told 6 friends and they all told 6 friends, etc, etc, and everyone subscribed, I could be the king of YouTube in no time. And then I could use my undeserved power for good. What if my friends don't have friends? Or if they don't have friends, then how could you be one of their friends? Ah, see? Use my undeserved power to build a new D1. Exactly! My only friends are already subscribed, so it's a bit pointless. Ah, tell them anyway. Can't friendship graphs have directional edges? No. I have decided they cannot. Fine, Alex. If all your friends are subscribed, then tell your children and your children's children and your children's children's children for 3 months. Okay, then you go and subscribe. This has no fold line in it. That's slightly annoying. I probably should have checked it fits through the gap first, shouldn't I? It does. Good. There we are. Steppage. I'm not checking the rest of them. Not until it's done. I approve of steppage. Excellent, thank you, Andy. It feels good to have a kit that includes all these things, even if I don't know what I'm doing with it. Step. Yes. Yes, indeed. Knowing what you are doing is overrated. Yeah. Dropping things is overrated. Must say, it's much easier throwing them into a 3D printed carriage end. Onto. That was the word I tried to say. But where's the fun in that? Something proper modelling, grr. Moan. And all that jazz. This is where I apply flux and then put solder on and fill all these holes. We all know it's going to happen, so I'm not even going to deny it's going to happen. Right, that's getting hot enough that I can't hold it with my hands anymore. But there we go. Nice flat solder. That's helpful when it gets too stuck to this and it's too small that I can't take it off by hand. There we go, that one worked. and punch the camera. It's a trademark by now if you weren't expecting it. Then you must be new here, welcome. Well, that didn't quite go as planned. That went even less to plan and has got turned black. I didn't even know brass could go black from heat. But there we go. Yep, it's all still under there. So now all I have to do is thread them through the holes and apply heat again. And if I do it one at a time, I'm not going to throw them all out as I do it. That's the theory anyway. That has not stuck. It had not even gone through all the way. So even though I had melted the solder, it wasn't making contact. So, what is everyone else up to this evening? Do tell me, I do like to know what projects you have going on. And I'd also like to remind everyone that hydration is important. Reorganising workbench. Oh, so I've been doing some extreme workbench reorganising with the new studio. DCC fitting Engage class 47, 47587, one that I have records of having seen around the time that my layout is set. Excellent! That is a very good reason to have a specific loco. playing some Cursed Railway Company era scenarios on the Midland Main Line from St Pancras to Bedford. Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. Just about to start on the brake gear if there's a LSWR luggage van. The bit I'm dreading. At least you only have to make it digitally. That's what I'm going to say about that, Linny. Some of us have to make brake rigging out of brass. Maybe I'll paint it blue, white and red when it's done. But that's... yeah, it's LSWR, no one cares. It's not like when you did it to a Stroudley. Please don't say curse, don't be an internet person. I didn't mean internet person-y. I meant ancient Egyptian-y. There's no Control Z in brass. There is not indeed. Good evening, Bob. How are you? I hope you are well. We were just discussing the projects that everyone else is doing, whilst I work on fitting the steps in the end of this. I have already finished the second side that we only just got started last week. It went much quicker thanks to a replacement tip in the soldering iron. Learning C# and trying to make progress with my projects to have virtual control and mimic panel for a DC layout. Excellent. C# isn't too bad to learn. I look forward to seeing more of your DDC that it's called, Paderborn. Basically about NSE era Midland Main Line is not just the livery, but the Valenta powered HSTs. I'll let you have that. And look, there is the bot reminding us hydration is important. I have only just hydrated, bot. Why C# rather than C++? Well, why not? I'm just getting to work first. Well, yes, obviously. But I have faith you will manage it. C++ is better at cross-platform and faster. Well, I mean, those are good reasons unless someone's not interested in cross-platform. Although, James, you will be pleased to hear that I installed Linux on a laptop the other day. So, you know, there's that. Driving an Emu and having the HST howling past me at 100 miles an hour makes me very happy. But would it not be better to be driving the HST? I approve of Linux. I knew you would. This laptop is living out its final days as a gaming server. And I thought, well, why bulk it out with Windows when it doesn't need basically everything that Windows does? So it got Linux. Good evening, Great Northern. How are you? I hope you are well. It's a free program from Microsoft that allows serial interface with and form uses C#. That is a good reason for using C#, Paderborn. Interesting. What are you serving? I'm serving multiple games for the children. Mainly Minecraft at the moment. But it shan't be limited to just the one. Indeed, some of the scenarios are in an HST. Problem is the route isn't hugely long, so it doesn't take too long to go end to end in it. Ah, fair enough, Alex. So very well, thank you. How are you? I am very well, thank you. I'm glad to hear you are. There we go, it got through eventually. When I eventually get the Just Trains parts to the middle main line, that will be a good HST length run. And if anyone ever feels the missing link from Bedford to Leicester so we can merge the middle main line, then fantastic. Yes, well, you can but hope. Well, that and beg people to do it. I won't suggest doing it yourself because I know what your answer to that will be. Showing Just Trains have ruled it out considering they are doing the majority middle main line. Hopefully someone else will come along and give it a go. Hopefully, I mean, once most of it's there, I'd be surprised if someone else doesn't do it. You can't be the only person that wants it. Route building in TS is hard enough for a team, let alone one person. I hear that about Train Sim. I must get back to my trains route building one day. But at the moment I don't even have it installed on the laptop. It's there. It went when I was purging high space things before discovering it was YouTube that had taken up all my space, although not actually YouTube, it was video editing. Absolutely, and that is what happened with both West Coast Mainline and East Coast Mainline merges. Fair enough. So, eventually it'll happen then, someone will do it. Talking to computers, has anyone tried Simi Trains Extended? I have tried it. I've not tried it for a while, but I have, yes. It may even be installed on this laptop still. And good evening, Richard. How are you? I hope you are well. That came out again. Oh, it just fell all the way through. That's not too bad. Yeah, eventually, and also the South West Main Line being done, so we'll have that at some point. Excellent. See, you'll have all of the UK eventually. just because people will run out of other stuff to run out of routes that are popular, and they'll get on with other ones. There we go. Version updates every night, so you may want to get the latest version to play online. Oh yeah, it's been so long since I've played it, I would definitely check for updates before opening it, even if it wasn't an every night update thing. We are incredibly close to having every major mainline in-train sim. It's a mad thought. It is, rather. That's quite cool. Doing good, thanks. Just finished off my J36. Now she has the right name. Excellent. I shall look forward to some pictures appearing on Discord. And we have steps. You can climb up them and... No, was that? No, I think that was S Club 7. I'm not going to make that joke now because I don't know which band it was. Which terrible, terrible 90s band. And I'm going to look over here and I'm going to see the drop lights, and I'm not going to forget the drop lights. See, and you thought I was going to forget them. One there as well. That fret is all bogey stuff. That fret is compensator bars. This fret has nothing that looks like it goes in those holes on the end. I really cannot work out what they are. So for J36 improvements, so for step progress, probably won't be till tomorrow. Want to use daylight, there'll be better lighting than now. Very good idea, Richard. I would wait until tomorrow for that as well. I need to work out lighting for the new studio at some point. I'll show us the bit. Right, so the end of each carriage, each end of the carriage has an oval in the middle with a hole in it. There is obviously something meant to go there. I cannot for the life of me work out what it is. I am quite sure that this end has the light switch thing about here, above that hole. That's for the brake pipe. Ah, fair enough then. In fact, I should put that on there before I forget that, because I had clearly forgotten it by the fact I've not done it. There'll be a pin on the back of the brake pipe standard, and the oval is the bracket that holds it. Let's see if we have some brake pipes in here. I'm sure we do. I can't see any. We'll do that when we come to it. It's not like I'm short on brake pipes if I need to add some. For clarity, this bag is full of brake pipes this size. There is a lot of them. sometimes things come up in bulk at reasonable prices, and I think, well, I'm never going to run out of them again. With some of those pipes. Well, I'm happy to supply some at some point. When I got it, it claimed to be 1,000. I've never counted to check. Those are the Dapol ones. They are the Dapol ones. I have a bag of over 3,000 matchsticks for modelling. Had it years, barely made a dent. Yeah, I have a big matchstick bag for modelling. I've ended up giving it to the boy and he makes buildings out of it for his layout. His platform shelter and his bus stop, for example, are made of matchsticks. The thing that bugs me is they're all the same side angled ones. On many pieces of stock, the pipe is angled one way on one end and one on the other. Yeah, they are indeed all angled the same, and it is rather irritating. But I got that bag back when I modelled like British Rail, so if you've seen the channel's website, it's really cool. Have a look. It says The Bot. Go check out the website. They are super handy, but you only ever see one at a time on most vehicles. Well, true. True. Note to self, don't put them on flats. Dapol, cheap and cheerful, does the job. Well, yes. Can't argue with that. That does seem to be a very Dapol ethos. Sometimes it's easier to model goods locos. Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know why the Brighton had pipes on the front of its in fact, I'm not even sure it did have pipes on the front of its passenger engines, looking at the pictures I've got around me, because they didn't have screw links on the front of their passenger tender engines, I should say. So they weren't ever pulling trains tender first. Yeah. But yeah, looking at it, at my pictures up on the wall, I don't think they did have pipes on the front. All to model the time before loco brake and narrow gauge, where many lines never had vacuum brakes. Well, true. All these ways of cheating on detail. think that's far enough along now. Now, I don't know how well I would get solder across these without ruining the look of the vehicle. So what I might do is just try and sweat through the one side. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. I still love the fact that Talbot didn't get vacuum brakes until the preservation era, and the common wagon runaways nearly ended their relationship with the Cambrian. I did not know that. I'm learning. Indeed, a Ralph moment. It has stuck. Wahey. So about those drop lights that I'm definitely not forgetting. They kept being told to fit proper brakes but never had the money, and were finally forced to do it due to being a preserved line serving passengers only. That makes sense. Do like commands, but we need commands to activate some home automation things in your home. No, we do not. We definitely do not need to give the internet that power. Turn up Gary's heating. Give the internet that power. Do not give the internet that power. I was buying a new light bulb yesterday and they had Wi-Fi light bulbs and I'm just like, nope, that's not happening. Cambrian got so angry they threatened to stop serving them because of so many late wagons ended up careening off the end of towing wall sidings onto the Cambrian coastline. Yeah, I can see why they got angry about that. Move camera so it's not punched. If I could have somewhere better to put the camera here, then I would. I'm actually amazed there's never an RWS story about that happening at Crovan's Gate. Yeah, that is rather surprising. There is a chance though, Andy, that the new workbench is being designed in such a way that my hands will have easier access around the camera. To prevent future camera punching. And trust me, it is an improvement. I'm going to put that down a bit so you can actually see what I'm doing. Sorry, migraine, need darkened room. Good night. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming. I hope your migraine feels better very quickly. But yeah, you worry about the camera punching now, Andy. There was a time when the microphone used to get punched. Ask people about that. When it turned out to become unavoidable, I did a set redesign to make it much less likely to happen, and hasn't happened again since. Just imagining relevant commands. I mean, it's definitely a relevant command that could be a little ear hurty. So I'm told. Yeah, well, in fact, I did watch one back, but I knew it was coming, and so it wasn't the big shock to me. So I don't think it was as bad. Plus, I was already having to listen to my own voice, and I was like, no, this is terrible. It was painful, very painful. Yeah, as I say, it doesn't surprise me. Hence why we got the set redesign. Let's lift that up again so we got my nice Chatham locos in the background. And of course it wasn't even the actual microphone I was hitting, it was the cable run to the microphone. Took the whole set apart redesigning that. Will your workshop recording studio be cosy or chilly in the winter? It will hopefully be cosy. Mainly because it is in the house. But I say hopefully because it doesn't actually have a heater. But it should be kept warm by the radiator in the kitchen as long as I don't shut it up. NSE livery declutter. No, Alex, no. Did you see the link to my blog that I posted the other day, James? There is a floor plan for the recording studio up there. On my latest blog. It will definitely be cosy size-wise. I don't think I have a blog command yet. I did mean to add one. I was going to do it and then update the link on it every time to be the latest blog entry. But then that would require me to remember to update it. Pictures were nice, reminded me of my old layout room. Excellent. I am glad it was nice. So since those pictures were taken, the shelves and the workbench have received tops, and they've received filler where appropriate and 2 coats of paint now. There's still more work to do. There's a couple of places that still need more filler. And obviously more paint afterwards. But it is nice to be able to take my time on it. Tops, what number? Badum-tsh. And because we're doing this as a design from scratch, my bit of glass will be sunk into the workbench top, and so I will have a completely flush top all the way along. Ooh, fancy. Fancy indeed. So this workbench was originally designed to be not just a workbench for sitting here, but it's collapsible, so it goes out, so it could go outside to be used for spraying. Which is why it was covered in so many colours once upon a time. So it never had things like this should have a bit of glass in it, because of course I would have been taking the glass out or cleaning it every time I used it for spraying, which would not have been good. Right, so where's my picture? That does not give me, or does it? 1, 2, 3, 4. That does help. That has the top lights on it. That's good. The drop lights on it. Well, I've got the word top stuck in my head now. So we'll start with this one. So we want drop lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Now I won't forget, he says. We're also going to mark that up the same on this side. Just a little scratch in the back that I can see and go, oh yes, that one needs one. Because as you would expect, there are 5 drop lights and 7 windows the right size. And there is a link to Patreon. Of course, your Patreon funds do help. They make the stream happen, they buy kits, and they keep me hydrated, because hydration is important. Then we're going to switch East Coast Mainline South for a bit, do some happy train scenarios. I approve of happy train scenarios. There is also the donate link there from Alex. Which, fun fact, if you donate, you get to hear Stepney's whistle. And who doesn't want to hear Stepney's whistle? It's annoying that I can't find the video clip that my whistle is from anymore. I've got the full audio clip, because I ripped the audio out for another project. But I can't find the video clip anywhere. It is rather annoying. And there we go, look, now I've circled all the windows in silver, so I definitely know which ones need them. Let's do the same on the other side. So, question for the audience. Should I model one of the drop lights, or more than one of the drop lights, dropped, or open, as would be the more common terminology? And if so, we need to decide which one, or ones. What time of year is your layout set? Spring. Spring and summer are the layouts. And in theory, this being a saloon could appear on other companies' lines, so it could run on any of my layouts. That was a lot of fumes. Late spring, one or two drop. Sounds like there should be some open. I like some open drop lights. Yeah, it sounds like we want some of them open. We will do that then. I'm going to cover all these with solder now, and then once that's done and we're sticking them in, we'll decide what ones to open. I did realise I can't cheat on this carriage earlier though. Because of course as an additional carriage that's not part of a set and gets added on, and of the bogie variety, out of my SE&CR carriages that it's going to run with, it's gonna be the birdcage set, which is lined. And this will stand out if I don't line it. Just love to watch your work, Gary. It's so therapeutic. Thank you, Bob. That does mean a lot. And I am glad you find it therapeutic. I am loving the work on your parcels office at the moment. It is looking absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you what, until you said it, I did not realise that those windows were not clear. You've done such a convincing job on it. My mind was just like, nope, those are clear windows looking into a dark building. Isn't that easier if I hold them with something smaller than my fingers? Oh, and I definitely wasn't. Cheers, say Snow's allowed a day by the fire painting it. Excellent, Bob. I was just about to say I totally wasn't jealous of your pictures of snow this morning. Down here in Sussex, where, well, this particular part of Sussex, where we had some rain this morning and some sun this afternoon. That was a bit weird. Blue skies and sunshine. Stephen Kingsfrost, sad to see how much changed since the Steam era. Indeed, it has changed rather, hasn't it? But if you want it back, Alex, you can just build a model instead. It'll be fine. Then you don't have to worry about Train Sim's way of having it. Garden was buried in about 6 to 8 inches. Wow, that's quite a lot. You're local to the SVR, aren't you, Bob? Bob's very local to the SVR. Original PlayStation. So here, the snow was rather more than I was expecting, to be honest. Nice to see though. It was rather less than I was expecting here. We were told to be prepared for snow, and it never came. About 5 minutes from Beauty. Expecting -8 overnight here. Oh, that's rather chilly. It's currently -1 here. Right then, here is. I'm going to start with this side actually, because this is the side on the picture. Been a volunteer on Arley Station since 2003. Going to be fun. The main snow and floodwater still around. Wrap up warm then. Yeah, I would for -8. I assume after the year we've had, there'll be a lot of work bringing the flower beds at Arley back up to standard this year, will there, Bob? Been on the SVR nearly 30 years, so I've probably seen you at some point. Would expect you to have classmates that are now fitting and working. Excellent, James. So, Drop lights. We have drop lights in 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we need to work out what ones we're putting up and down. We've got one at the end of the saloon, 2 on the doors into the saloon. This is an Invalid saloon, yes. 1 heart and 1 on this door. Would suggest having the ones in the saloon open. Fresh air is considered good for health. All of the ones in the saloon, because I'm looking at the floor plan that Gone Walk is. This is the other way round, isn't it? Yeah, so there's a wall here, wall here, wall here. So the saloon itself has 1 here and 2 in the doors. Perhaps it doesn't want to drop. Was just having ones in the saloon open. Fresh air is considered good for health. Well, 1 or 2. Maybe just open at the top on the far left. Maybe 1 half open on the insistence of the nurse. So we open this one about halfway, leave the rest closed, yeah? I can do that. So there we go, we have a half open drop light. Are we closing both in the doors, or shall I have one of the doors, one's partially open as well? Well, it depends on the weather. Do we want a free draft? Maybe. I can't see the weather being too bad. I expect it will be very nice weather. I'm wondering if I should put this one open as well, as this is a separate part of the saloon. Oh, yeah, so that's our saloon, that is not. Talking to people who aren't well, has anyone to your knowledge built a model of the necropolis? I've heard people talk of doing it. I don't think I've ever seen it actually done. Yes, it's going to be a long haul. We've been asked not to go as volunteers just yet, who are due to restrictions, mainly on station maintenance and gardens, but have seen trains away as a dispatcher. Yeah, fair enough, Bob. I'm sure you'll manage to bring it back to being absolutely beautiful when you do manage to get back to being able to do it. Case of cross breeze, maybe the door on the other side. Yeah, that makes sense. Right, so we'll put this one down as well. And I'll put the 2 in the door up on this side, and then we'll have 1 in the door down on the other side. And I let this slip, so now I've got to get it off, or at least get it moved. There we go. Good evening, Ian. All windows should be open, they remembered in the day. But they might not all have been men. Especially not our poorly person. Does the amount of ventilation required depend on what is wrong with them? Yeah, well, yes, I suppose it does, James. But I haven't decided that, and they might be a different person every time. If they have consumption, then a breeze is probably not the best thing. Well, no, that's true. Gonna model the Invalid? It depends. This one has some quite big windows on it, so it might be worth modelling the interior and passengers properly. If it was tuberculosis and open windows even in the winter, indeed. That is one I do know. Typical, it had gone where I wanted it, but I haven't quite let it set enough. And there we go, there's just one more to attach on this side, which of course is going to completely destroy the one I've just put on. At least that's my prediction anyway, because it's right next to it. And that is now very much stuck down, I hope. There we go. Drop lights in. 2 are open. Let's try and poke them out. None of them will poke out. That tells me it's okay. Leaving Finsbury Park, you'd never tell there had been an MPD there. I will take your word on that. I can't even picture Finsbury Park. Very nice and beautiful stuff. Thank you. Very much appreciated. So, double doors, 1 window down. figures, whatever is wrong with the person in here, it has been decided that they need a breeze. The Deltics are long gone, all residential flat blocks now. Well, that's the Deltics' fault for not being good enough. Although let's give it credit, at least it's a diesel class I know. Interesting theory. Nothing wrong, good Deltic. My father wound the alternator for the prototype one of those. Yes, I recall you mentioning he worked on that. Interesting theory, I thought so. Most theories are interesting. That went in the wrong place. Screaming at the LSWR for their ridiculous diagonal brake gear. Brake rodding that is diagonal in all 3 dimensions at once. This is your punishment for doing it in CAD, Linny. Rather than getting a soldering iron out. If the theory is correct, same applies to LBSCR stuff and every other item of stock on the railways. I mean, you would think so. But as it's my theory, I've decided it doesn't. I never said my theories had to be consistent. I never tinned up this window. There we go. It's a lot of diagonality. Is it diagonal in time as well? See, now you're just trying to drive Linny insane. Those. Not convinced it isn't. In a mad world, only the mad are sane. Indeed. Love mad worlds. Kittens. Yeah, kittens are mad. And there we are, that's still too hot to touch. Drop lights in on this side, just the one open on this side, allowing our cross breeze, and that is the sides and ends done. That to me sounds like it's time to start building it. Have you seen your local fluffies lately? I have not, but I have not been about at the, well, not been about outside much, really. So before we start assembling, remember, hydration is important. I'm contemplating we're starting to paint the coach I'm working on now, or do I do it tomorrow when the light is better? Better light is always good for painting. I find it difficult enough painting some things on the live stream at the workbench sometimes, and the level of lighting I've got here is better than what most people have on their workbench. I do have multiple lights coming in from multiple different angles, which again is something else I'm working on with the new studio, to have even more lights in white rather than warm white, so that we don't get colour distortion from the light, so you'll lose the slight yellowing that you get on here. Like these will appear green instead of, or greener instead of almost black. They are extremely dark compared to real life. And hopefully positioned in ways where I won't even have shadows. Won't that be great? So yes, we need to put some ends on. And the steps go at the luggage end. Take your advice and start working on something else. I do think it's a good idea to start on something else rather than try and paint if you're just going to have better light tomorrow. So that goes like that and fits beautifully to the shape. I must try to remember to ask Luke something on Discord tomorrow, which I won't. No, and I won't remember to remind you either. So that question will never get asked, whatever it is. You could always log in now and ask it and then run away and leave before anyone has time to notice you're there. I know that's against the rules, but technically you could. And there is that end tinned. Well, probably not a bad thing. It'll save me money not getting it answered. I mean, that's not a bad thing. But at some point you'll remember to ask it and have to spend that money. No, no Discord on Sundays unless it's urgent. No, I know. I know. And you've missed such an eventful day. weeping noises. It just changed to diagonal in another direction, and now it's outside the axle guard, so it's really visible. So what was it you were saying earlier about how much easier it is to do steps on 3D printed carriages, Linny? Eventful. I think I might have missed that too. Yeah. Don't worry. It's not something you would have seen too much of. I made a mistake doing a quick drive. Steam Era East Coast Main Line. Now to wait 20 minutes for it to load. Yeah, a lot of the events were outside places you would have seen. They went into private messages and other places. And were eventful in a good way, I should specify that. I have had a fun day with it. Nothing bad. I am intrigued, and you shall stay intrigued. Well, hey, it did tin down there. I mean, the thing is, Alex, that 20 minutes for it to load, that's just whilst they fire up the loco. The steam engines take longer to get ready than diesels and electrics, you see. Someone will notice one day and decide to get rid of them all as a result. They'll say that it's more efficient to have something you can just press a button and it's on. Yay for good eventfulness. Indeed, yay for good eventfulness. Fire an engine makes a difference to reticulating spleens, I suppose. It does. I get that reference. Don't even get why it takes so long. There are many way more detailed routes in TS and don't take so long to load. Also, this where I streamed with the track goes funky. Reticulating spleens, those were the days. Indeed they were. I like my theory that they're firing the engine up and that's why it's taking so long though. So steps go on luggage end, so we'll put that down there for now. This goes on this end. No! That's something else that needs fixing on the new workbench. No, you're too high. Now you won't move. Good. Right, so now that I've stuck that, I'm going to check it's in the right place. Funny enough, only a few weeks ago, I heard a steamer talking about reticulating the screens, and the person they were telling to thought they were making it up. Heard a streamer. Yeah, I can say words. I read words properly. No, I got it too high up. I thought I had. I looked at it afterwards and thought, hang on, that looks too high. Oh, the youth of today. I posted a comment on a comedian's YouTube channel recently saying that I water my parlour every Sunday after winding the clock on my sideboard, and someone didn't believe me. How dare they? They know nothing of life, that is the thing. No, that's not stuck down as well this time. You're moving. That is no good. Achievement unlocked 47587. Way. I take it that means it's all working and configured and everything now then, James? Essentially, I'm going to take the Deltic prototype for Blast Steel and need some vintage action to offset all the modern. Good plan. Indeed, all my standard DC settings for class 47. Excellent. And there we go. We have an end. And I think it's in the right place. It might be a tiny bit too low. But I don't think it is. This is obviously going to be the fun one. The blue tack's getting too hot and not sticking. Let's get a different piece of blue tack that hasn't been melted yet today. Everything. No, nothing fell apart, James. Lady Killers won the other day. It's a great watch. Sad to think. Sad to think that that has all gone, including the tracks the V2 stood on, pulling trains they dropped the bodies into. Indeed. The fun of soldering. Oh yes, soldering is great fun, isn't it? Right, that is stuck. I want to double check its height before I do anything else. Yes, that's okay. Plant with broad dark leaves, very robust, good for indoors, can cope with little sunlight, doesn't like too much sunlight, very low maintenance, popular in Victorian times. Aha! But it's to the James, it sounds perfect. It does sound good. I don't have many plants in the house. They're too much maintenance with the kids as well. Cast iron plant, interesting. Takes me 20 minutes to water my plants. Got a bit wild over lockdown. See, I used to have a beautifully done garden with loads of plants in it. But I also used to have a gardener, so I can't really claim too much of that was my work. There we go, we've made a carriage. My grandfather was a king gardener, he used to grow fruit in his back garden. I mean, I used to have a veg patch that I looked after myself. Hydration is important, many, many years ago. So is mine, now mine is carrying on the tradition. It is nice to hear. And to refill the hydration vessel, as it is now empty. As it should be by 11 o'clock. That's not very full. That's better. Excellent, the carriage looks great, thanks very much. It'd help if I had that the same way up as the sides here, wouldn't it? Because this is going to be the problem, is soldering this one with its steps on. I have to hold the carriage up in the air whilst I solder it. I'm going to put the blue tack there to stop it moving and also to try and prevent me damaging the steps. At least that's the theory. Oh, for a third hand indeed, Andy. My God, it finally loaded and I selected the wrong end destination. Oh no. That's gone on slightly too low down. So angry. Carriage is looking good. Focus on the good looking carriage. There we go, it's off. That's quite warm now. Should have expected that really, shouldn't I? I will while I wait another 15 minutes for it to load again. Yeah. I mean, I get why you're angry. There we go. That is where it wants to be. Let's double check before doing it all the way down. Is there any other? Yeah, I get that. It is because it's taken all that time to load and now you've got to do it again. Completely understandable. Anyway, yes, beware hot metal. Yeah, hot metal is hot. Just, that's my public service announcement for the day. Well, you know, don't give that. Exactly. That's brilliant. I've not seen that one before, Andy. That fits so well. There we go. It's a carriage. The chassis goes that way round. I'll be able to get those from there. So, what order do these go in? Because this is going to be fun. I bet this one... Oh no, this one is C. So this one is this one is this. Right. Because this, I'm very sure, is not the right way of doing these. Because these now need to slot into here. And into the chassis. I seem to have ended up with a carriage that's too short. Or just a very tight fit, one of the two. What it is, you see, is these bits want to fold up and over, up and under. And I can tell that now, looking at it. And if I'd have noticed that beforehand, getting the sides on would have been much, much easier. Yeah, this way round. They have some slots they line up with in the floor. So yes, as I was saying, these go up in here and down into the chassis. So getting them lined up is quite important. And I think, because they have to hook in, I can't slide this over them. I think what's going to be the easiest is to get one in and soldered into the bottom of the chassis with its tab sticking through here. And then the next one, and then the next one. And they should, in theory, hold the body on slightly better with each one I do. So I think I'm going to tin the slots for them in here. On here. Maybe I should start my mistake. It's going to take 3 hours to get to York. But, I mean, how long did you expect it to take? No, don't fill the hole. That's no good to me. That's better. Wasn't thinking about how late it was yet. Fair enough. And the bot would like to remind you that hydration is important. And now I'm going to make sure these all still fit through their respective holes. They do. And I'm going to wonder if I can get them to stand up this way round. Doesn't need to be in the right place on the body until I'm soldering it to the body. It just needs to be right underneath. So now we have one partition wall in. Which can be soldered to the body once we've got the others in. Chin bottoms on that. Yes. I think I have the brakes done. Excellent. That is good news. And there is partition the second in. I always forget just how good a Deltic sounds at full power. I don't know what a Deltic sounds like off the top of my head, so I guess I do as well. Having gotten to the surface of my workbench, I've been assembling my mail carriage. Ooh, excellent. How's it going? And there we go, that is the third partition in place. And so now my cunning plan comes to fruition. Half a body, excellent. Because now those three partitions are holding the body on the centre line. See? I do think about these things. Now, all I have to worry about is having it lined up this way and I can attach it. And it is lined up that way, so I can attach it. I mean, it would have helped if I'd have tinned something in here, because I forgot to do that bit. But I'll manage. I do believe that we have a body attached to a chassis. So if anyone knows this kit well enough to say that I shouldn't have attached the body to the chassis yet, now's the time to tell me, because I have already done it. It's one piece. It is a shame that the wooden roof they provide is too long and needs cutting down and has splinters, so you can't even line it up on the end nicely. There we go, one finished carriage. Maybe it's in the comments tomorrow. Yes, yes it will be, of course. That's great, thank you Andy. I need to stick the other side now because that's still rocking back and forth. Excellent job, thank you Alex, fantastic, thank you Bob. There we go, now it doesn't move at all, both sides are stuck down. Oh, I'm happy now. I set out to achieve a goal this evening and we've done it. It is too often that we don't achieve the goal that I want. A little bit on the top corners to stop them waving, and I'll worry about sticking them properly afterwards. That's pretty good, thank you. Huzzah for achieved goals, indeed. Achieved goals with over half an hour to go as well. Achieved goals are the best sort of goals. Indeed they are, James. And hello Z Fantasy Trains, how are you doing? I hope you are well. Catch the soldering iron on the camera, that's a new one, I didn't punch it. There we go, that is all of them tacked in place so they won't move. So now I just want to get some solder down the less visible sides of them. As I say, with these big windows in the sides, we might actually have a decent view inside this carriage when it's done. So it might end up with an interior. I need to see if I can find some pictures of it to see what the interior looks like, because this carriage does survive on the... yes. Is it the Kent and East Sussex that have got it? If you do an interior, you have to 3D. You have to. Are you going to have yourself 3D scan lying in bed as the Invalid? No, I'm going to be driving a P-Class. I have myself 3D scan so I can drive Bluebell. That's really, really hot. So you're looking for volunteers to lie in bed whilst being 3D scanned. Wow. I hadn't decided on whether they needed a bed. There we go, that is that side soldered. And there's a link to the Discord. Come join us if you haven't already. We have a great time on there. Talking trains and other such rubbish. I still really want my dog 3D scan, but I don't think he'd sit still long enough. Yeah, that could cause problems. I can see that. But it would be fantastic if you could, wouldn't it? The Guatemalan insanity peppers is that. I know. I apparently had my finger on just the wrong bit there. Because it heated up instantly. I must have practically tapped the iron on the bit I was holding. Which of course, with a side like this, is basically putting the soldering iron against my finger. Right, that side is on. And that is the definition of you can never have too much flux. And that side is attached nicely. As is that side. Just those two bits to go and all of those are in, and then I should probably tack some more of the sides down to the chassis. When Caledonia Works eventually do the new A4s, I'll have to recreate the Elizabethan film on this route. I think the water troughs are all working ones, so as long as the Caledonia Works A4s have scoops, I should be fine. That sounds good. That sounds very good indeed. It's just a shame that no one will get to see it. Such a dreadful shame. Won't be the full journey, but King Cross to York, still very good run in Silver Fox. That would be great, yes. Right, that is that one. So there's only one more side to do. Or corner, I should say. And there we go. Sides in. Partitions in. Let's do some more attaching the sides to the floor. If only I could pick up some flux in the way I want to pick up some flux. There we go. Very nice, apologise, must be off for dinner. Good night, or good night, Andy. Thank you for coming. So we are only, what, 25 minutes from the end anyway, so you won't miss a huge amount of progress. Great to have you here as always. Enjoy your dinner. Get some of that excess flux off that's run out the sides. And move this out of the way. So yes, there we have a very carriagey looking carriage. It's certainly made a lot of progress since we started tonight. I'm just looking at if there's anything else we can attach to the body this evening. I do not believe there is. It does look like our next step is the bogies. Door handles are on there. Carriagey looking carriages are the best sort of carriages. They are indeed. And I suppose I could cut this down to the right length for this carriage and put and place it on top and be like, woo, look, it's a roof. But yeah, I believe our next step is the bogies underneath. 4 candles, 4K handles. Tonight all I do will be away to bed. Great stuff, Gary. Thanks for a film. Will be a slippery drive down the country lanes to the nursery in the morning. But good night, Bob. I hope those lanes aren't too slippery for you. Sleep well. Great to have you here, as always. So, hydration is important. I do like the idea of cutting this down and plonking it on top, actually. Because doing that will give us an idea of how visible this is. With a roof on. Stay safe, everyone. Indeed. Good night. Thank you for coming, and also you stay safe. So let us first knock the splinters off the end there. And draw that line at a point that is too long. On purpose. Switch my knife blade for my saw blade. Either my saw doesn't like cutting this, or this doesn't want to be cut. I think it's a bit of both, really. I think I might call this run at Biggleswade struggling to concentrate. Yeah, I hear struggling to concentrate is not ideal when you're in charge of a locomotive. Especially if it's the sort that has passengers behind it. Bye. That's a very visible interior. Definitely can't get away with just painting that black. But there we go. It's definitely a very carriagey carriage now. Because it has a slightly wonky cut roof on it. I approve of visible interiors. Yeah, I know you do. I like being able to cheat. see if I can get rid of that bulge. It's only on this corner. And it should sit straight then. There we go, it does. Obviously it's not pushed down in place properly. But yes, I'm very happy with how that's looking. It's still pointing out to the side, it's still bulging a little bit. One day I'll learn to cut straight. Today is not that day. Yeah, I'm very, very, very happy with how that's looking. But as I say, if it gets coupled up to the Bachmann rake, it needs lining. Because against that, not having the lining will show quite badly. And of course it would actually be attached to that end of the rake. You'll need a bed, an invalid, a nurse, a bedside cabinet, a concerned relative, a jug of water and a bath chair. It's a saloon, not an ambulance. It's fine. Nice thing about early railway coach windows so small you don't need interiors. Well, yeah, this has been what I've been counting on every coach I've had up until now. I've not had ones with big windows like these. Woo birdcage. Yeah, I left it out just so that I could grab it if we did get this far. Very, very, very happy is the best sort of happy. It is, isn't it? It is indeed. Right. 15 minutes to go until the end. And I'm honestly stuck on what to do. Because I do not particularly want to start on the bogies for only 15 minutes. Because I'll have barely got them started. And it'll be time to end. Will anyone be 3D printing the flowers for the bedside cabinet? So you're getting a bit... Well, it comes with an interior, James. Here it is. This is the interior it includes. Like I said, I need to see if I can get some pictures of the interior of the real thing since it survives and see what it looks like inside. Get around to selling my bird cages at some point. I mean, you could always just donate them to me, Alex. I don't mind. I have interiors in my N-gauge. You have better eyesight than me. We can sit and stare at each other. No, actually, Javier, I was just thinking as I looked at this, it's still got couplings to go on. They could go on the end. Or at least, you know, the plates that the couplings go on could go on the end. There is stuff I can be doing to it. To the body. And then we start on the underframe next week. Donate? Yeah, no. I thought you might say that. I mean, the thing is, I don't really want another set of the Bachmann bird cages unless they're in the other livery. The Wellington Brown. What I would quite like to do, and will do at some point, is build some shorter bird cages. But that'll happen when it happens. And obviously I don't mean as short as my four-wheeled ones. Some 50-foot bogey ones rather than, I think, is it 60-foot, the Bachmann ones? Because let's be realistic, I don't need loads and loads and loads of identical birdcage sets. Any bird cages are good bird cages. I'm not going to argue with that, Alex. The Chatham coaches are very nice. Someone has just bought several sheets of drawings for SE&CR bird cages of various lengths. Might be convinced to scan them. I was thinking of old schooling it and using the cutting up triangle coaches method that isn't really great for for SE&CR stuff. With the Terry Gow articles, because I've got his SE&CR articles. But I mean, I wouldn't say no to drawings of better ones that I could have a play with, maybe doing something on. Let's get you tinned all the way along, there's enough there to do it. And now it's time to do the small bits. There we go. All this talk about cages puts me in the mind of the Greenfinch and Linnet Bird song from Sweeney Todd. I have not seen Sweeney Todd, so it does not put me in the mind of that. Let's use a tiny bit more flux to make it stick. Because of course the problem here is I can't have this slip. Is that a D-class over at the back? It is a D-class over at the back, yes. She is due some upgrades soon. That's fantastic, thank you very much. She's got some better transfers to go on at some point in the future. And she's going to get working inside valve gear as well, which is going to need a slight redesign of the chassis. But I'm looking forward to the challenge. And also, welcome. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Or morning, I think I should say, really, shouldn't I? Right. That did not stick. I thought it had, but hoped it hadn't, because it had gone slightly off where it was supposed to be. It's there. So hopefully that'll transfer just enough heat to melt the solder again. I'm not convinced it is though. Which would be a shame if it let us down after performing so well all night. No, it's not. It does not want to do it. Oh, it looks like it did there. It did, it stuck it way. We will get these done before we end. And the tweezers are, of course, making sure that the hole for the coupling doesn't get filled up by me lining it up wrong. Because that would be rather irritating. And that one is also stuck. That's the end pushing it out this time. And there we go. That is essentially the body complete. I do not see anything else to do to it. Obviously, we've got all the underframe to do. That can come next week, because it is now 2 minutes to pumpkin time, as James likes to call it. I am very happy with what we have got done this week. Obviously the roof needs doing properly and the fittings add into it, but for now that'll do. And I mean, even at that angle you can see inside the carriage on the camera there. But I am very, very happy with the progress we've made tonight, and I have once again had an absolutely fantastic time doing it. So whatever Invalid is in there should be getting a nice comfortable ride. I hope they are. Pumpkin time. Awesome progress tonight. Thank you, Alex. That looks amazing. Thank you, Z Fantasy Trains. So yes, we have reached the end. So as the bot has reminded us still a couple of minutes ago, do remember to smash that like button if you haven't already. Whilst you're down there, subscribe if you aren't. It really does help the channel and really does mean a lot. All that brass work just for it to turn into a pumpkin. I know, Javier, it's terrible, isn't it? But yes, thank you for coming, everyone. As I say, I've had an absolutely fantastic time. But it is now midnight. So, great stream. Lots of love for progress. Thanks for streaming. Thank you for coming, Linny. It means a lot. But yes, I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build. And you've been awesome. Good night, everyone.